ask you a question, how many developmental groups are crossing occlusal ridge, are crossing their occlusal table for first and second molar? Okay, then you have to think about this buccal and lingual group. So upper first molar has 3 and lower first molar has 2. Altogether 5. The distobuccal cusp is larger than found on the first molar. Okay, the first molar distobuccal cusp is a little bit small. But in case of second molar, because the mesiobuccal and distobuccal cusp is in similar size, so distobuccal cusp is relatively bigger than the distobuccal cusp of the first molar. It has 2 well-developed roots, one mesial and one distal, like the first molar. The second molar complements the other molars in their grinding function. All the molars are actually for grinding purpose, grinding the food during mastication. The crown measurements are smaller than lower 6. Mesiobuccal cusp is equal to distobuccal cusp. Here you see the mesolingual cusp is equal to distolingual cusp. The contact areas are located at the same level in the middle third. Okay, the contact level is the same level in the middle of the middle. Actually, not middle of the middle. Actually, the contact area is located on the mesial side at the junction of the occlusal third and the middle third. And here it is in the middle of the middle third. It has 2 well-developed roots, one mesial and one distal. The roots of the second molar are not well formed, but they may be longer. The roots are broad buccolingually, of course, but they are not as broad as those of the first molar, nor they are as widely separated. They are a little bit less separated, less divergent. They are a little bit kind of broad. The roots tries to remain together. The roots are smaller, less divergent than lower 6. The root trunk is longer than the first molar. This is the root trunk. The root trunk is a little bit longer than the first molar. The geometric outline, it displays a trapezoidal outline from the buccal and lingual. Okay, trapezoidal. It exhibits a rhomboidal outline from either proximal aspect as of the first premolar. So occlusally, it is trapezoidal, rectangular, and from the proximal side, it is rhomboidal. From the occlusal, the general outline is rectangular shape. So trapezoidal from the buccal and lingual side, rhomboidal from the proximal side, and rectangular from the occlusal side. Arch position, you know, this is a 7-tooth from the midline, function, grinding and pulverizing food. Also act as a TM joint stopper. Tooth number here 1837 in FDI system, and palmar 7 with the bracket on the left side. And mandibular right second molar is 3147 on FDI and 7 with the bracket on the right side. Contact relation, it shares a mesial contact with the first permanent molar from the very beginning, because first permanent molar is coming at the age of 6 years and second permanent molar is coming at the age of 12 years. So when they erupt from the very beginning, they are sharing the contact mesially with the first permanent molar. But distal side, until the age of 18, there is no contact. It is the last tooth of the jaw until the age of 18. At the age of 18 to 21, if the third molar is coming, then distally it has a contact with the third molar. Otherwise, this is the last tooth of the jaw. If the tooth is impacted, this is the last tooth and there is no distal contact. Function, mastication, functions with other muscle grinding, occlusion against the upper second molar and upper third molar. You know, the second molar and upper third molar, this is rated. Chronology and measurements, mandibular second molar. First evidence of classification is about 2.5 to 3 years. Anomaly is completed by 7 to 8 years. Eruption is about 11 to 13 years, and the root is completed by 14 to 15 years. Okay. The measurement you see here, the cervical occlusal length is a little bit smaller than the first molar. It is 7. First molar was about, I think, 7.5. The length of the root is about 13 millimeter. Mesorisal diameter of the crown is 10.5, and mesorisal diameter of the crown at the cervix is 8. Labio or buccolingual diameter of the crown is about 10. Buccolingual dimension at the cervix is about 9. So it is occlusal, a little bit bigger. Curvature of cervical line measurement, Mesial is 1 and 0. Yes.
What we must focus on it, the first difference of classification or elevation, the most one we must
In the measurement?
No, yeah, but in the exam, what we will have?
In the exam, what should you focus in case of measurement, right? You are telling like this?
Yes.
No, actually, measurement and chronology, you should remember. Chronology is important. That when the molar is coming, when eruption, at least the eruption time and the first evidence of calcification. These two timing is important for all the tooth.
Okay.
But for dimension, no, just you have an idea. Usually we are not giving any dimension in the examination, okay? But you should have an idea that the central incisor is about 10.5 millimeter, canine is about 11 millimeter, premolar is about 8.5 millimeter, like this. You should have an idea, but it is not important for the examination.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Overall total is about 20.6 millimeter average, ranging from 15 to 25.5 millimeter. It has 5 surfaces as usual: buccal, lingual, occlusal, mesial, and distal. And number of roots, it has 2 roots. Okay. I'm sorry. Now we come to the buccal aspect. Geometric outline. I think I should go like this. Geometric outline is trapezoid with a small uneven side cervically. So the occlusal table is bigger. Okay. The small side is at the cervix and bigger side is at the occlusal area. 4 cusps are visible, 2 buccal and 2 lingual. All the 4 cusps are visible from this side, from buccal side. Mesiobuccal cusp is equal to distobuccal cusp, and mesiolingual cusp is equal to distolingual cusp. Mesiobuccal cusp is longer than the distobuccal cusp. Mesiolingual buccal cusp is longer, means little bit higher than the distobuccal cusp. Okay, you see here in the picture, this is little bit higher than the distobuccal cusp. There is only one developmental groove known as buccal developmental groove and may end in a buccal pit. This is the developmental groove in between the 2 roots. This is the buccal developmental groove in between the 2 cusps, and there it ends usually with a small pit. This is the direction of the roots. Roots are usually a little bit distally inclined and little bit convergent together. Mesial contact area is at the junction between occlusion and middle 1/3, and distal contact area at the center of the middle third. Okay, this is the mesial contact area, junction between the occlusal 1/3 and middle third, and this is between the middle of the middle third. Cervical line is nearly straight. 2 roots are visible, 1 mesial and 1 distal. Roots are shorter than the lower first molar, located closer together. Try to be closer together. They try. That is less divergent than the lower first molar and inclined distally with the pointed apex. Both are inclined distally with the pointed apex. Root trunk is longer than the lower first molar. This root trunk is a little bit longer than the lower first molar. Lingual aspect, the crown and root of this tooth converge lingually, but to a slight degree. Okay. Tooth, crown and root, both is lingually convergent. Because I told you that every tooth has lingual convergency to some extent, bigger or smaller. Anterior tooth, very weak convergence. Posterior tooth, little bit smaller in the premolar, but in the molar, more smaller. But exception, only one maxillary first molar. It has lingual divergence. This is the information that you should remember. The mesiodistal calibration at the cervix lingually is greater than that of the first molar. Mesiodistal calibration means this dimension. This dimension is mesiodistally is little bit bigger than the first molar. Why? First molar is more convergent here, more smaller. Second molar is little bit bigger. The contact areas mesially and distally are more noticeable from the lingual aspect. From lingual aspect, you can see the contact area very nicely. Okay. They are at slightly lower level, especially in the distal area than those of the first molar. Of course, all the contact areas when the tooth is going from mesial side to distal side, in the general, the contact area is going more cervical. You remember, the contact area for the central incisor was near the incisal angle, right? Near the incisal angle, very high. Gradually, second lateral incisor, canine, first premolar, second premolar, first molar, and second molar. Ultimately, it gradually goes down near to the cervical area. The lingual cusps were more pointed than the buccal cusp. Anatomical landmark, lingual developmental groove never is repeated. Lingual developmental groove is always finishing with a faint line. And the roots, short root trunk with a developmental depression. On the lingual side, there is a depression on the root trunk, small depression. Geometrical outline is rhomboidal with lingual inclination. The cervical ridge is less pronounced and occlusal surface is more constricted than the first molar. Cervical ridge is less pronounced. This one is cervical ridge on the mesial side. Mesial side is not cervical ridge. This should become on the mesial side. It is less pronounced and the occlusal surface is more constricted than the first molar. Cervical ridge from the mesial side, you can see it from here. On the mesial side, on the buccal side, you will see the cervical ridge. The cervical is less pronounced and occlusal surface is more constricted than the first molar. That is, the occlusal table is smaller than the first molar. Mesial marginal ridge is a little bit concave. The mesial root is only visible. Why? Because mesial root is bigger buccolingually than the distal root. So it covers the distal root totally. So we can see only the mesial root. On the distal side, we can see both the root. And mesial marginal root is mesial marginal ridge is a little bit concave. Mesial marginal ridge is the mesial outline of the occlusal table, right? The longitudinal depression present on the mesial surface of mesial root. Here, mesial root, there is a depression on the mesial side. Distal side also there is a depression. So we have to compare the depression on the mesial side and distal side, like the premolars. Usually distal is a little bit deeper. No distal cusp or distobuccal groove. You see, on the distal side, there is only two cusps. One is distobuccal, one is distolingual. No distal cusp is present, no fifth cusp is present. So no groove is also seen here. From the first molar, you can see the distal groove, distobuccal groove, and distal cusp from the distal side. Distal marginal ridge is concave, but less angular than the mesial marginal ridge. So mesial marginal ridge is more concave and deeper. Distal marginal ridge is less concave and less deeper. Distal root is narrower than the mesial root, so both the roots are seen here. You see, the distal root is smaller. That is why the distal root has one big root canal because it is smaller in size, and mesial root has two canals because it is wider. Occlusal aspect, very nice, very easy. It is rectangular in shape, occlusal outline, okay? First one. Number two, distolingual convergence. You see distolingual convergence. Lingually it is converged and distally it is converged. This is the mesial side, this is the distal side. Distal side, the tooth is a little bit smaller than the mesial side. Mesodistal diameter is larger than the buccolingual diameter. Of course, always for the lower molars, the mesodistal diameter is always bigger than the buccolingual diameter. Landmarks, elevations. Four cusps with four triangular ridges are present. Mesial cusps are larger than the distal cusps. These are the mesial cusps. So mesial cusps are larger than the distal cusps because distally there is convergency. So less space for the cusp. So cusps are smaller than the mesial cusp. Mesiobuccal, mesiolingual, distal. Mesial and distal marginal ridge is present. Okay, mesial and distal marginal ridge. These are the marginal ridge. Mesial marginal ridge, distal marginal ridge. This mesial marginal ridge is more concave and more angular. Distal marginal ridge is less concave, less angular. The mandibular first molar with 5 cusps. You see, this is the mandibular first molar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 distal cusps. Okay. Mesiobuccal, mesiolingual, distolingual, distal, distobuccal, all 5 cusps. But you see the B and C mandibular second molar with 4 cusps. You see, mandibular second molar with 4 cusps, two varieties. One is straight cross, it's little bit still cross. But usually this variety is made. We are not describing the varieties. We are telling 4 cusps straight wise. One major central fossa you see with central pit. This is one major central fossa, central pit. Two minor fossa, mesial and distal triangular fossa. So we have two minor fossa, one major fossa. Developmental grooves for a typical cross pattern. You see here, subventral groove radius from developmental grooves. These are the cross pattern will come. This is cross pattern. Developmental groove is straight like this cross pattern. All groups provide important escape ways for food during mastication. This is true for all the molars, all the femurs. The grooves are actually for after grinding, the food should go out from the tooth surfaces to the oral cavity, either buccal to the tooth or lingual to the tooth. So these are the doorway for food particles after grinding. When you close your mouth for grinding with food, you close your tooth together and food are grinded and going inside your mouth and in the vestibule. Oral cavity, proper and vestibule on the both sides. So you will get food there. This is, you see here, this is another picture. This is mesiobuccal cusp, distobuccal cusp, mesiolingual, distolingual. This is two mesial fossa, triangular fossa, distal triangular fossa, this is central peak. This is straight, this is developmental groove is straight, and this developmental groove process is straight. So this is a cross line. But in case of mandibular molar, it is zigzag. So we get here what is the difference between the first mandibular and second mandibular. So you will tell us that the first mandibular molar occlusion pattern, developmental groove pattern is zigzag, and in case of second molar, it is a simple cross shape. These are transverse ridges for all the cusps you see here. Pulp cavity. Pulp chamber is buccolingual. The pulp chamber is a square. Here, buccolingual. Sorry, buccolingual it is. The pulp chamber is a square. Mediodistal, the pulp chamber is rectangular. Mesiolingual is a little bit rectangular. Why it is a square? Because the height and the width is almost same. There is pulp horn beneath the cusp. After the cusp, there is pulp horn after every cusp. This is one cusp, two cusp, three cusp, four cusp. All the cusps are present after all the pulp horn is present under each cusp. Here you can see the root canal is very plain. There is two canals on the mesial side, one on the distal side. Okay, like this. One canal on the distal, two canals on the mesial. Either they are having a similar one opening or they are having two openings. Three main root canals. Mesial root usually has two root canals, while distal root has one root canal. You see here. This is the position of the canals. After opening, you see the very big distal canal, and the canal in the upper, you will easily find the distal canal. So after filling of the chamber, you will find the distal canal. Distal canal, follow this river bed, this groove on the floor, and then you will reach the mesiobuccal and distobuccal, mesiobuccal and mesolingual cusp. You will find the mesiobuccal and mesolingual root canals. So this is the thing. Mesiobuccal is located under the mesiobuccal cusp tip. This is the mesiobuccal cusp tip. Under this is mesiobuccal cusp. Mesolingual is located at the same line lingual to the central fossa. Okay, same line lingual to the central fossa. Distal is located distal to the central fossa. This is central fossa. Just after the central fossa, and point of entry is the central fossa. If you should start your cutting from the central fossa. Central fossa you cut, you will find this one. From this one, you will go to this one and this one. So distal is located distal to the central fossa. Distal to the central, this is central fossa. Distal you will get it here. Variations and anomalies. Crown anomalies are uncommon, although 5 caps experiments are very occasionally, you will find that the second molar has also 5 caps. Very rare. Root anomalies are more common and may be manifested in fused roots or irregular curvature. In the second molar, there are some curvatures. Why? Because the space is already becoming smaller. So there may be unwanted curvature, there may be fused root with less space. These anomalies you can see. Okay. This were about mandibular second molar. If you have any questions, ask me. Then otherwise, we will go to the mandibular permanent third molar. Any question?
No, thank you, Doctor.
I cannot hear you. Really? Thank you. Third molar. Third molars are extremely variable in size and shape in both of their crown and root, like the maxillary third molar. I told you that maxillary third molar usually its trend is to be smaller in size. Okay, this is the trend. 90% cases, 95% cases, the maxillary third molar is the smallest tooth in the maxillary arch. Very small. Very occasionally, it becomes a very big third molar. Okay, but in case of mandibular third molar, the train is to be bigger. Most of the time, the mandibular third molar becomes bigger and do not get space. That is why either it is partially impacted or complete impacted within the bone. Many cases you will find, even in your 15 students, you will find that many of the students have mandibular molar, third molar impacted. Just a moment, I'll take your attendance. However, they have one feature which remains constant in the middle of the all variation. They have almost always the mesorisal dimension is bigger than the buccolingual dimension. This is common for the lower molar, and for the upper molar, we told you that one common feature, that the buccolingual dimension is always bigger than the mesorisal dimension. This is because there are many shapes for molars, upper molars and lower molar. So if you want to find the difference between upper molar and lower third molar, you will find the upper third molar is buccolingually bigger, lower third molar is mesiobuccally bigger. Ordinarily, generally, the molars decrease in general size from first molar to third molar, but the crowns of the third molar can range from very small to much larger than any other molar. It may happen. When third molars do very greatly from normal size, it is more common to find an extra large mandibular third molars and extra small maxillary third molar. That I told you that when they become very anomalies, then mandibular molar is tried to be bigger and maxillary molar try to be smaller. Arch position is third, 8 from the midline, and Mesially, it is contacted with the second molar. Distally, there is nobody. He is free from any relation. And here the universal number is, sorry, this is not 17, universal number is 17, yes, and 38. This is 32 and 48. Palmar is 8 with the bracket on the left or the right. Shares a mesial contact with the second palmar molar, there is no distal contact. Many of the cases, the third molar is partially or completely impacted. Function, of course, grinding or pulverizing food with the other molars. Occlusion against the upper second and third molar. Okay, because upper third molar is completely residing within the boundary of the lower third molar. So the lower third molar is sharing the lower third, upper third, and upper second. I'm sorry, I think we should check the occlusion of the mandibular second molar. Mandibular second molar is related with the maxillary second and maxillary first molar. Chronology and measurement. First evidence of classification, 8 to 10 years. All the third molar. This is a very important feature. The third molar is starting to develop at the age of 8 years. Enamel is completed by 12 to 16 years. Eruption is 17 to 21. Maximum 25. After 25, it should not come. Root completed by 18 to 25 years. Dimension 7, 11, 10, 7.5, 9.5, 9, 1 and 1. Overall total length usually 18.2 millimeter average, ranging from 14 to 22 millimeters. So there is a variation. The same number of surfaces, it has 5 surfaces: buccal, mesial, palatal or lingual, distal, and occlusal. Mandibular permanent third molars, the feature considerable variation in their size, form, and position. There is variation, of course. Occlusal anatomy is highly variable. 4 cusps like mandibular second molar, or 5 cusps like mandibular first molar, more than 5 cusps appearing like small tubercles. So 3 varieties are available. Either most of the time they try to be their neighbor. Okay. So try to be their neighbor means 4 cusps like the mandibular second molar. This is the normal variation, normally, usually. The other second common variation is they try to take the form of their distant neighbor. That is, this is first molar, like the first mandibular molar. So they may have 5 cusps. And finally, on the few of the mandibular third molar has multiple cusps, 5 cusps, 6 cusps, or even maybe 3 cusps. This is out of the pen. Tend to be oversized rather than undersized. It's tried to be bigger than smaller. Okay, if the meeting is finished, time is over, please you join again because I will continue. It is variable in size, maybe extra large or extra small. The third molar crown may resemble lower 6, this is type 2, and lower 7, this is type 1, or maybe have supplemental groups. No distal contact area. The roots are extremely variable in number, size, and curvature. Single fused roots are common. You see, this is the roots. Small, big root, curved root, very dwarf 3 root, 2 root. With this is known as dilaceration, very curved at the apex. This is the root variation and cusp variation. You see here, very big crown, very small crown, very small crown, very big crown, very small crown. 1, 2, 3 is very big specimen. 1 and 2 may be very small. These are very small specimens. Okay. The third molar is either 4 cusp type, about 50% cases, 5 cusp types, about 40% cases. That third molar is either 4 cusp type, 5 cusp type, 10% cases, 5 or less than 4 cusp. The buccal surface is very convex. It has two short roots, mesial and distal, that may be fused in all or part of their length. Mostly they are very fused, or maybe part of the tooth is fused and part of the root is unfused. Roots are more inclined distally than first and second molar. Okay, distal inclined. First molar is mesial, distal root is distal inclined, mesial root is coming, mesial, first mesial root is coming going to distal, then coming to the mesial, like this. So, second molar is both little bit distal inclined. Third molar is more distal inclined. The lingual cusp are longer than the buccal cusp. The mesolingual cusp is larger than the distal lingual cusp. Okay. Why lingual cusp are larger? Because lingual cusp are not in use. They are free from occlusion. That is why they do not have any wearing and tearing. The mesial aspect, buccal cusp tips are closer to the lingual cusp tips, giving a small occlusal table. Distal aspect. There is a distal conversion. There is distal convergence. You see distal convergence is there. So distal root, if it is separated or even it is fused, you can see smaller size, and mesial root is bigger. It can be seen from the distal side also. But mesial side, you can see on the mesial root. Mesial surface, mesial. Distal root is narrower than the mesial root, so both roots are seen from distal aspect. Occlusal aspect, the geometric outline is rectangular or oval. This is a little bit oval shaped too. There are numerous supplemental grooves and pits that give a wrinkle appearance. In the first molar, in the third molar, upper and lower, both, they have multiple supplemental developmental grooves, giving it a wrinkle appearance. What is wrinkle? For example, if you catch your cloth in your fist, in your hand, then you will find that multiple invagination or folding is there. This is known as wrinkles. This multiple folding. Why? Because the third molar crown tried to be erupted in a free space, but there is no space. So even it erupted with a very small crown, surface crown. So surface area occlusal table is wrinkled. The pulp cavity is usually similar to that of the second or first molar with 4 or 5 pulp horns. Okay. The pulp cavity also shows great variation in their size and shape. The pulp cavity is usually similar to that of the second or first molar, because if it is like the first molar with 5 cusp, 5 pulp horn will be there. If it is similar with the 4 cusp, 4 pulp horn will be there. If it is 3 cusp or 6 cusp, similar pulp horn will be there. 2 or 3 root canals are there, but many of the cases, if the roots are fused, sometimes the canals are also fused. You will find only one mesial canal, only one distal canal, or maybe only one single canal in the center, or you may get 3 canals. The pulp cavity also showed great variation in size and shape. Why? Because the pulp chamber of the lower egg is larger than any other molar, because it is younger than any other molars by 9 to 11 years. You know, there is continuous formation of secondary dentine in our whole life. So once the tooth is erupted, there is continuous growth of the secondary dentine within the outer wall of the pulp cavity, and the pulp cavity gradually becomes smaller and smaller. The pulp cavity in the first molar for you and for me and for your grandfather is not same. You have the biggest pulp chamber because you are young. I have the middle size because I'm in the middle age. Your grandfather has the smallest pulp chamber because continuous growth of the secondary dentine. What is happening in case of third molar? The third molar is younger than the first molar and second molar. First molar grows, erupted at the age of 6 years. Second molar at the age of 12 years. And third molar at the age of 18 years. So it is 12 years younger than the first molar. So the pulp cavity chamber is a little bit bigger because less secondary dentine. Variation anomalies. The third molars are often congenitally missing or impacted many times. You will find in many cases the third molar is either partially erupted or not erupted at all, or sometimes you will find in the X-ray that there is no tooth jump from the third molar. This is also happening. That 32 teeth now becoming a trend for 28 tooth, for 28 to 30 tooth for all the population in the world. The area immediately distal to the third molar may be the site of supernumerary tooth. When present, they are normally after the third molar in the upper and in the lower also. I showed you that there are some additional tooth which is known as supernumerary tooth. Usually the lower or upper supernumerary tooth in this position is impacted, not coming into the occlusion. But you will find in the X-ray. Almost any structural anomaly conceivable is possible in the third molar. Third molar may have any variation, which is not you can think now. So a lot of variation is there, a lot of type is there. Now this is the important slide, that comparison between the lower molars, the first molar, second molar, and third molar. Size, first molar is the biggest, second molar is the middle one, smaller. Third molar may be the smallest or as big as the first molar. Okay, maybe very big, maybe very small. Number of the cusps, first molar has 5 functional cusps, second molar has 4 functional cusps, and third molar may have 4 cusps or may have 5 cusps, may have 3 cusps, may have more than 5 cusps. Developmental groups, the first molar, 3, 2 buccal and 1 lingual. Developmental group on the buccal and lingual side. Second molar, 2, 1 buccal and 1 lingual. Third molar, maybe 3, maybe 2. Occlusal out depending on the variation. Occlusal outline is hexagonal or pentagonal in the first molar. Second molar is rectangular. Third molar is rectangular or oval. Contact points, only mesial contact is present, but in case of first molar and second molar, the contact point is present mesially and distally. Mesially, usually at the junction of the middle third and occlusal one third, and distally is in the middle of the middle third. This is very common. Occlusal groove pattern, you see, this is the zigzag. This is the zigzag. You can see the zigzag of the first molar. You see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is zigzag. And cross shape with the second molar. This is cross shape, crossing the marginal ridges and crossing the buccal and lingual ridges. In case of third molar, numerous supplemental groove. There are many supplemental groove, and there are pits and fissure caries maybe. Root, 2 roots widely separated, mesial root is curved. In case of first molar. Second molar, 2 roots less divergent, may be complete or partially fused, inclined distally. Third molar, 2 roots, of course, mostly fused. If separated, root trunk is long and roots are pointed at the apex. Pulp chamber is rectangular. Second molar is, of course, rectangular or something like this is square in from the mesial itself, from the buccal-lingual dimension. And variation, third molar, variation in shape and size, always bigger than the other molars as youngest. So these are about the first molar, second molar, and third molar. So you tell me ask me your questions so that I can explain you a little bit more for better understanding.
Doctor, there is
Yes.
only oblique ridge in first maxillary first molar.
Yeah, there is oblique ridge in the maxillary first molar. Very occasionally, it can be seen in the third molar also, because when the third molar is taking the size and shape of the maxillary first molar, it may be seen in the maxillary third molar also. But general information is the maxillary first molar has oblique ridge. The triangular ridge of the mesolingual and distobuccal cusp are continuous.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
This oblique ridge is available only this one tooth. When I ask you general information, you will tell yes, this is found in only one tooth. No other tooth is no oblique ridge. Class?
Yes.
Yeah. Anything more? So you will have quiz on your first maxillary molars and mandibular molars, and 2 lectures from the first semester, geometric outline and physiological crown form. Okay, so you go through these lectures, inshallah, and if you have any question, you can ask me anytime regarding the previous lectures also, if you think. Number 1. Number 2, I'm not sure the quiz will be online or physical because Osama gave me a message, but when I asked the female coordinator, they said yes, the message was there, but the message is revised, it's taken back, and the vice dean is still thinking what to do. Maybe he will consult with the ministry and he will let us know what to do. Okay, so maybe physical, maybe online. We are not sure. We'll let you know. No worries, inshallah.
Okay, Doctor.
Okay.
Doctor,
So thank
that means our quiz will be in four chapters.
4 chapters. Yes, 4 chapters. I think it is easier for you, and I hope, inshallah, all of you get 5 out of 5.
Inshallah.
Okay. Ask me any question before quiz. In the quiz, I cannot ask you anything. You cannot ask me anything. So before quiz, ask
Okay.
me anything and everything so that you are prepared.
Doctor, on the eruption and calcification.
Hmm. The chronology, the important is the first evidence of classification when the appearance starts, development starts, and eruption time. Only these two is important. And you will find the eruption time is different for every tool, but on the first evidence of calcification, usually incisors are different from the canine, and canines are different from the premolars, and the premolars are different from the molars, and the molars are similar. So we have a range of group, right? So you should write in your notebook about the ranges for each group, and then you can remember like this. Because, for example, molar, the first molar is coming at the age of before birth, and second molar is coming at the age of, for example, 2 to 3 years, and third molar is coming at the age of 8 to 10 years. So you should have a good guess, good idea that when it is coming. If you tell me that no, first molar is maybe 2 to 3 years, then it is a gross mistake. Okay.